What's up everyone and welcome back to Reload Reacts. My name is Trey and today we are going to look through r/am I the butthole, the subreddit to find out if you were in the wrong for the argument that's kept you up at night. This post is by Daisy Chained 89. Am I the butthole for telling my parents to pay me back my college tuition if they want a relationship? I was raised by parents who believed religiously and just culturally in rigid gender roles. Dad should work, Mum should stay home with the kids. I'm the only girl and have 3 brothers. Because of their expectation I'd stay home with kids, they never valued my education, educational achievements, or emphasized things beyond domestic skills. I'm the second youngest. By the time I was in high school, my 2 older brothers had gone to the college of their choice, with my parents fully covering tuition, books, an off-campus apartment, and other living expenses. They eventually did the same for my younger brother. I was told I wasn't allowed to apply for college. I did so in secret and got accepted with a partial scholarship. I didn't tell them I was moving out until a week before I left, with essentially nothing but what a few friends gave to me that their parents bought them for college. I took engineering and had to work, take on debt and struggle. My parents and I have barely spoken for years. I'm married now and expecting our first child, and they asked to meet up. We met at a park, and they said they were sorry if they caused me pain, but would like a relationship now. I asked them specifically what they were sorry for. They wouldn't elaborate and just said they wanted to move forward. I said that wasn't sufficient. In the end, I said they could prove they were sorry by forwarding me the $100,000 my degree and college expenses were, just like they did for my brothers. My mum burst into tears, my dad said I wasn't being serious and I just left. Since then, I've been getting calls from my brothers telling me I am being immature and hurtful. I don't think so at all. The top comment reads, "Not the butthole. Hi, from another engineer from a family filled with rage that she has all the talent that the boy was never up to. As far as I can see, your answer to them was perfect. It was very fair, and if they have fixed their appalling bigotry issues, they would be falling all over themselves begging you to take the money. Since they clearly have not fixed their bigotry, you don't want them around your child. Never ever poison children by allowing bigots in their presence. No exceptions. That includes your bigoted brothers." Edited to add, I have a bachelor's, master's, and a doctorate all in engineering. You have no idea how angry this makes them. Hopefully you will too, and we can watch the bigots faint from sheer rage together. Wahahaha! I totally agree with that. They don't feel sorry, I think they just want access to being a grandparent, which is crazy. The world is not how it used to be. The next post is by GotMilk_. Am I the butthole for switching to regular milk to prove my lactose intolerant roommate keeps stealing from me? Me and 2 other guys share an apartment together and we split all the bills. The only thing we don't split the costs on is groceries. Everyone is in charge of buying their own food, and we don't touch whatever doesn't belong to us in the fridge. We put our names on everything so no one gets mixed up. The issue has been going on almost a year and I'm sick of it. One of my roommates, R, keeps stealing my food. I get home from work and containers with my leftovers are sometimes missing. They have my name written on it, or my stuff finishes too quick. My gallon of milk, for example, I buy almond milk because I like the taste, but it seems to finish after a week, even though I've only drank once or twice. I confronted R about this lots of times and that's caused a lot of arguments. He outright denies it and tells me I'm crazy, even though it's so obvious. My other roommate and I carpool together because we both work the same early morning shifts around the same area, so I know it's not him. It's always after we get back home and R's already left for work that I notice my food's gone. My roommates also had a similar problem, but not as often as I do. I'm guessing because R doesn't like what he buys. The funny thing is, R buys a lot from himself, and is even more stingy about his food. He will literally point out what's his when he comes back from grocery shopping and tells us not to touch it. Last week, my milk was nearly empty again and I got fed up. I went to the liquor store and bought regular dairy milk. I drank what was left of my almond milk and refilled the gallon with the one I bought. This was to catch/prove R is the one stealing since he's lactose intolerant. The next day, Saturday, we get back from work and R is peed. He yelled at me that he was stuck in the bathroom for 40 minutes with diarrhea because of my milk. He was using it to make a shake. I only responded with, "So then you're the one that's been stealing?" He freaking exploded. Yeah, he admitted he was sometimes drinking my milk and eating my food, but he was more mad that I switched milks than the fact that he was caught. I told him I wouldn't have done that if he'd just stopped taking my stuff from the fridge, or at least told the truth, instead of trying to make it seem like I was making it up. My roommate backed me up and thought it was kind of funny he got payback for stealing from us. It's a little tense right now. My roommate told me R is trying to convince him to agree to kick me out. Little does he know, we're both looking to move somewhere else together because we are sick of his S. I told some buddies what happened and a few think I was an a-hole for that. I feel like I'm not in the wrong here. He was taking my food and not even owning up to it, and I wanted to prove it. Does that make me the butthole? My opinion? No, absolutely not. It's stealing. Theft is theft. If you want to figure out why someone's stealing from you, or who's stealing from you, yeah, do that. That's actually a pretty cool option rather than just kicking him out. I would probably just kick him out, because he's not telling the truth, he's stealing your food and drinks, which is costing you money. I think it's cool that he got payback. You're definitely not the butthole. And not only that, but I would just kick him out in the first place. That's not cool to do that sort of thing. Buy your own food and drinks. You're stingy with it. Why can't other people be? As he said, like, if R wasn't stealing the food, he wouldn't have had a problem in the first place. So, you're facing the consequences of your own actions. That doesn't make you the a-hole. Am I the butthole for saying I'll be driving myself and paying for my own room on the upcoming family vacation so I won't have to be a babysitter? I, 23M, was repeatedly stuck playing the part of helper and babysitter on family outings. I had to move out of my parents' house because I kept being forced to help watch my 3 nephews. Last year we took a family vacation in the summer to the coast. I rode along with my parents, and they paid for my hotel room. Only, I had to share that room with 3 rowdy boys because my sister and her husband wanted a room to themselves. I was promised time to do my own things on the vacation, but instead, I ended up having to help with these kids. I complained to everyone about it, and was reminded I was there for free. Wow, I hate when things are held over my head. And then we pretty much just did only one thing I wanted to do, which was tour an art gallery. I like doing this whenever I'm at the coast, but the kids find it boring. This year, my parents had a beach trip planned for June, and they assumed I'd be riding along the same way as last year, but I refused. I said I'd be driving myself and paying for my own hotel stay to have my own room. My parents were shocked and tried to remind me of the cost. I said it was no worry, I've got a good job and a decent running car, I can more than afford it. That's when the buts started. I stated the previously listed things as why I'll be driving myself and paying for myself. I want to be able to enjoy this vacation as an adult, and not be treated like a child like last year. That's so fair enough. My parents told my sister, and she called me to blow up at me that I'll be ruining this vacation if I'm off doing my own thing while she has to wrangle her 3 boys. I ended up yelling at her that last year all she did was rope me into her mess. I didn't really get to do much of anything I wanted to do, and I was treated like the bad guy for wanting to just go to an art gallery. I'm a grown man. I deserve my own vacation too. Now my sister is not speaking to me, my parents are still trying to convince me to just ride with them to keep the peace. I'm still refusing, but the pressure is getting to me. Am I the butthole for not giving in? I know they'll have a pretty hard time when they won't have another person there to help. Edit. It's been barely an hour since I posted, but my sister is apparently a Reddit lurker in the mornings, and she saw my post. Not only is she furious with me, but she's also upset no one in the comments is siding with her. To make it short, she went on a big rant about how it's so hard to be a parent of triplets, and the least I could do is help because I'm young and single and she needs a break. I stood my ground on my decision, and now she's calling our parents to get them involved. I'm expecting a call from them any minute. Update. Well, I'm off work now, so I can tell more of what went down. I guess you could say it's over. My sister got our parents involved, they looked at my post and were absolutely horrified by the continuous influx of commenters. Yes, they're very angry with me that I posted here, but I told them that if they'd just listened to me to begin with, I'd have never needed to. I'm sick of the whole keep the peace mentality that sacrifices me to placate my sister. They in turn went off on my sister, and to make a long story short, the whole vacation has been cancelled. The hotel wasn't booked yet anyway, but my parents are arguing with my sister is blaming me, my nephews are crying because they aren't going to the beach. My sister called me at lunch and basically implied I have no life, which is why I have time to help. I recorded that and told our parents, and that's currently what they're fighting about. Small update. I wasn't going to update again, but here's a little more. Parents said that they won't ever push babysitting of my nephews on me again, and agreed that what happened last year was unfair to me. Right now, they're very angry with my sister for telling me I should help her because she thinks I have no life. My sister is playing the victim. My brother-in-law is basically saying, nope, to the whole mess and spending most of his time at work. The brother-in-law is such a vibe. I think that she is just really entitled. You chose to have the kids with that person. Like, that was your choice. You cannot blame other people for ruining the holiday because you decided to have children. Like, that's not anyone else's fault but you. That is on you. You cannot get mad at your brother, your siblings, because you don't want to take care of your own children. She wants you to ruin your vacation as to not ruin hers. They're her kids. Like, come on. This next post is by Bridezilla XOXO. Am I the butthole for kicking out one of my bridesmaids for showing up in the wrong dress? My 23F wedding was back on Saturday, December 31st, and I'm still getting backlash from this, so I want to know if this was a butthole move. In the country I live, it's currently winter and we get a fair amount of snow, so my wedding was a winter-themed wedding. The colour theme was forest green and gold. My dress was obviously white, and I chose the colour of my bridesmaid dresses to be forest green as well. My maid of honour's dress was black, and everyone was to wear gold accessories. I have this friend, we'll call her Kat, that asked to be one of my bridesmaids. When we went dress shopping and I told the theme colour that I was going for, Kat immediately expressed that she thought forest green was a bad choice. She said she thinks it's not a flattering colour and thought I should choose something different and more girly. I said no because my wedding was winter themed and I thought the colour would go perfect with the theme. She suggested a pink, blue, even a red. I said no, but thanks for your opinion. She found out my maid of honour's dress was black and asked if she could wear black too. I said no, only my maid of honour is wearing black. I paid for all of the dresses. Fast forward to the wedding day, everyone's getting their hair and makeup done and Kat shows up 30 minutes late holding a bag that looked like it had a dress inside. I asked her what this was for. She told me it was for later on at the reception if she got uncomfortable and wanted to change after pictures. I was like, okay, cool. So fast forward, we're all dressed and walking down the stairs because the ceremony is beginning in 30 minutes, and we were going to take some pictures before. Kat is the last person to come down and she's wearing a black dress. At the time, I was preoccupied taking pictures with my parents, but my maid of honour came over to me and made me aware of the situation. I confronted Kat and asked her what was going on. She said she hates her bridesmaid dress, as the colour is ugly and makes her look gross, so she's wearing black. I told her to please go back and change. She refused and started walking away from me. I said I'm gonna ask her one more time, and if she doesn't oblige, I'm calling security and kicking her out. She began yelling at me to F off, so I called security and asked them to please escort her out. She started making a big scene, yelling how I'm such a bee, that I can't force her to wear anything, and that I'm a horrible, inconsiderate friend. The wedding went on and it was truly amazing. Ever since the wedding, Kat has been blowing up my phone with texts saying some really nasty things, and asking for the money back she spent on the black dress, since it was a waste and she didn't get to wear it. I had to block her number. Some of my other bridesmaids have been giving me S, saying that it was a little harsh kicking her out and embarrassing her like that, and that maybe I should give her the money back. Am I the butthole for kicking her out? No. Absolutely not. I'm just going to read what the top comment says here because I absolutely agree with this. She embarrassed herself. She agreed to wear the dress you picked out and then deceitfully planned to change it at the last minute in the hope that you'd just let her get away with it. She knew that you would tell her no. Think of it as being in a wedding as like playing a part in a play, a ballet or something. You get cast as bridesmaids, so you wear the costume that the artistic director has picked out for bridesmaids to wear. If you don't want to wear your costume, don't be in the show. But you can't just show up on opening night and say, I didn't like your costume choices, so I'm going to wear the same costume as this other character instead. So dumb. So dumb. This next post is by Wedding Property. Am I the butthole for not letting my best friend have her wedding on my property after being uninvited? One of my 29M best friends, Carla, 31F, is getting married soon. It's only meant to be a small backyard type of wedding, but they've been planning it for a few months now, and originally it was supposed to be on my property. They wanted it because it's private, has lots of open space for the reception, a nice view, and the house can be used for them to get ready and stuff. Of course I said yes. She and her fiance Rick were very happy. Thing is, Carla and I do have a history. We went out on and off in college, but then decided to stay friends. Then I met my wife, we got married, Carla met Rick, and now here they are. Now my wife knows I went out with Carla back in college and she didn't care. Carla still went to our wedding and everything. I never knew if Rick was told or not. It's not my relationship, therefore it's not my business to say anything, so I never did. Rick found out recently and not in the best way. Not sure how, but from what I heard from friends is that one mutual friend told him, no idea why, we used to date. Not only that, but apparently Carla said a couple years ago she was still in love with me when she was already dating Rick. Don't have actual confirmation if that's exactly what he was told. All Carla's told me is that Rick was told about our past and he's angry at her for never saying anything. It became quite a drama. I didn't hear from her for over a month now. She told me they're going to couples counselling and that the wedding is still on, but Rick requested that I not attend. It sucks, but I totally get why he wouldn't be comfortable. Then I asked the obvious question, where are they going to hold the wedding then? To my surprise, she said they still wanted it at our place. Rick said so too, and in my mind I'm going, he doesn't want the guy who dated his fiancée years ago at the wedding, but still wants the wedding at his house? My wife and I are expected to just not be at our home that weekend, and I told Carla no. They're gonna have to find someplace else since we're not simply going to leave our home to them for the weekend. Not only for safety reasons, but it just doesn't make sense. Rick doesn't want me around because he's not comfortable but is comfortable enough to have their wedding at my house? They really want their wedding here though, and because of that, I've been bugged by not only her, but also Rick and some friends who think I'm being a petty a-hole for not letting them have the wedding here anymore. Honestly, I don't think that I am. It just doesn't make sense at all to have to leave our own place for a wedding we're no longer welcome to, and leaving our home totally vulnerable. Still, being accused of sabotaging their wedding, and Rick believes it's the best I can do after everything. Am I the butthole? No. It's your house. What? Rick's mad, like, that's not your fault. The top comment reads, Rick doesn't want to get married anymore, but doesn't want to be the bad guy breaking up with his fiancée. So he's putting her in an impossible position so he can get the sympathy when they split. Not the butthole. Like, they dated before they even met. That's so dumb. That's so dumb. This last post here is from Accomplished Bar 5656. Am I the butthole for suing my parents for my college money? My great aunt set up savings accounts for all her female relatives. In our culture, education for women is not really valued, and she thought that was bull-ass. She lived with her father in London where she was educated. She went on to attend university and became a doctor. She married a British man and they moved to America and had a great life. She funded the education for as many of her nieces and grandnieces as she could. When she passed away, she left money for every girl relative she could. My parents managed to access the accounts that were set up for my sister and I. They used it to pay for my brother's wedding. My sister didn't care because she got married 2 years out of high school and had no intention of going to college. When I graduated, I went to the bank to get money for school and it was almost all gone. There was like $13,000 left. I asked my parents about it, they said they had needed the money. I finally found out where the money went. I got furious. I got student loans and moved out. I am a great source of shame to them and I don't give two Fs. I am currently suing them for all the money that was left for me. My entire family is against me. They all think I am a complete a-hole for airing private family business in public, and that I am putting money ahead of family. My friends are all on my side, but they are all Americans and don't really get my culture. Neither do I, to be honest. My brother called me up and offered to pay for my university if I dropped the lawsuit. I agreed, as long as we had a legally binding contract. He said I was being an a-hole for not trusting him. I said he should not have accepted my money for his wedding. It is causing all kinds of embarrassment to our community. I am somewhat ashamed to be doing this, but I don't want to have this debt I should not have. You should not be ashamed for that. That is ridiculous. The top comment reads, "Not the butthole. Your parents didn't borrow your money, they stole it. I hope you have all the documents to show that the money was yours. Your brother is also a butthole for trying to get you to drop a lawsuit with what is most likely a lie. If you have a chance to start life without student debt, you do whatever you can to do that. Your parents, and I'm sorry but their culture sound completely toxic. I'm glad you got out." I think some people's culture seems as though family means everything, and that if they are your parents, they just get free passes for anything, anywhere. And that is completely ridiculous. That's not how life works. You cannot just give someone a free pass to doing anything because, oh, they're family. They get to do whatever they want. I know there are people out there that follow their parents' law word by word, and it becomes really authoritarian and it becomes really problematic because when they don't follow one thing, oh, well, you're betraying your family. No, you're just trying to be your own person, and you're allowed to do that. Never feel ashamed for trying to be your own person. Anyone trying to stop you from that, they're related to you, but they're not family. And that's going to be it, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed the stories in r/Am I the Butthole. Let me know what you'd like to listen to next in the comment section below. My name is Trey, this was Reload Reacts, and I will see you in the next video.